It was over for him. He received his settlement check after enduring criticism and a lengthy lawsuit. Now he could cash it at the bank. He started talking to the assistant manager and gave her the check. It was inspected. Next, she glared at him. She went to her office and disappeared. Later, 6 police officers surrounded him in the bank branch. When he came through that door, he imagined the bank personnel would perceive him as a regular man with a settlement check to cash. However, the assistant manager saw something else. The media uproar and millions of reactions and comments were only the culmination of Dewan's year-long ordeal. Just when he thought his troubles were over, they started again. The beginning, Dewan left the Air Force to work as a civilian after years as a tactical aircraft maintenance specialist. A part of it was that he was burnt out and tired after all those years in the military. There was another, more personal reason for his decision. Dewan had recently fathered his 3-year-old daughter Alexia. Keisha, Dewan's wife, knew he was serving his country and family in the Air Force. However, Dewan was growing tired of the long hours, being away from home for months, and most importantly, the risk of dying in a foreign conflict zone. He wanted to raise Alexia as a father. He made a life-altering choice. After retiring from the Air Force, he looked for work in Detroit, his hometown. He found work faster than expected. His Air Force service ensured discipline and skill. He secured a Detroit airport job quickly. He soon learned that all that glitters is not gold. Recruiting was done over the phone. The HR department was impressed with Dewan's experience and offered him the job after 2 phone calls. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. The salary and conditions exceeded Dewan's expectations. When he met his manager at the airport, things changed. His manager met Dewan at the airport on his first day of work. He studied Dewan. After a moment, he asked, "Are you Mr. Thomas?" Dewan agreed. Another pause followed. "All right, follow me," the manager sighed. He toured him and introduced him to the staff. Dewan constantly wondered what the manager's reaction meant. That was just the start. Air Force veteran suffered for months. Even though he enjoyed his job, he was good at it, and he got along with his colleagues and subordinates. Something became increasingly clear: his manager didn't like him. No matter Dewan's performance, he had something to say. The veteran didn't understand why he felt Dewan owed him. He finally understood one day. Racism was Dewan's manager's issue. The Army vet unexpectedly entered his manager's office while walking through an airport hallway. He overheard his phone conversation then. Dewan felt his blood boil as he listened to the manager. He was slurring Dewan to someone else. Dewan immediately started recording. Enough. He knew his duty. Airport discrimination lawsuit. That was the start of a lengthy, exhausting legal process until, almost a year later, he finally received his settlement check. His troubles continued. With the check in his pocket, Dewan went to his local branch. After a few minutes in line, he gave the assistant manager the check. She said, "I have to speak to my superiors about this." She then vanished. 6 policemen surrounded Dewan minutes later. They started with, "Take your hands out of your pockets." Dewan refused to follow them into a back room. He tried to stay calm. "I wanted to make sure I stayed as level-headed as possible, because I wasn't going to be the next person on the ground saying, 'I can't breathe.'" The officers were hostile. "Where does this money come from?" one officer asked. They disbelieved Dewan's explanation. He was arrested for fraud in one of the cars. Dewan called his lawyer after arriving at the station, who convinced the officers to release him. That wasn't all. After being released from the station, Dewan cashed his check at a different bank, but his branch filed a police report against him for check fraud. Thomas told media it was embarrassing. "If I were white, this wouldn't happen." He was prepared. He wanted revenge. Dewan filed another bank discrimination lawsuit a few days later on his lawyer's advice. They called the police because they kept accusing him of fraud. So I ask, why do you think there's fraud? Duan's lawyer told media. My client's African American. They never explained why they called the police or thought the checks were fraudulent. They assumed a black guy with these checks was committing fraud and called the police. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.